Megan Carter arrived at the shop just after 7:15 a.m., same as every morning. She parked her dark blue SUV out front, unlocked the side door, and flipped on the lights inside Carter Auto Repair, the garage she'd run for nearly 8 years with her husband Ryan Carter. The buzz of the overhead fluorescents hummed to life, revealing a familiar world of oil stains, rolling toolboxes, and the scent of grease and coffee. By 8 o'clock a.m., the first customer had dropped off a car, a silver Honda Accord with brake issues. Ryan logged it into their system while Megan wiped her hands on a shop rag and poured herself a second coffee. Tuesday mornings were always steady, nothing too crazy, just tune-ups and oil changes. Megan liked the routine. The garage sat just off Westheimer Road in Houston, nestled between a tire shop and a used car lot. Their client list was loyal: locals, families, a few small business fleets. Megan handled the front office and basic diagnostics, while Ryan worked in the bays with their part-time mechanic, Luis Ortega, a quiet 24-year-old who had joined the team 3 months earlier. At 10:42 a.m., Megan received a call from a customer, Linda Travers, who needed her black Toyota Camry serviced for a check engine light. Linda was in a hurry, so Megan agreed to squeeze her in. Linda pulled in at 11:05 a.m., left the car with Megan, and took an Uber to work. The Camry was nothing special: late model, clean interior, just under 90,000 miles. Megan noted the VIN, filled out a quick intake form, and told Ryan she'd park the car in the back bay to free up space out front. It was a routine task. Megan grabbed the keys, slipped on her gloves, and drove the Camry slowly toward the back of the garage, past their storage shed and old parts bins stacked against the rear wall. The lot was tight, but Megan had done it 100 times. That was the last time anyone saw her. By 11:20 a.m., Ryan stepped out of the shop to grab a part from the rear shed. He expected to see the Camry already parked, maybe Megan popping the hood. But the car wasn't there, and neither was Megan. At first, Ryan didn't panic. He figured she might have gone inside for something or stepped into the office. But when he checked, the front office was empty, Megan's coffee still half-finished on the desk. "Luis, you seen Megan?" Ryan called out. Luis, crouched under a truck in Bay 2, shook his head. Not since she went to park that car. They searched the lot again. The Camry was nowhere in sight. By 11:45 a.m., Ryan was pacing, phone in hand. He tried calling Megan. The call went straight to voicemail. "Hey, where are you? Call me," he said, voice tight. He called again. No answer. By 12:10 p.m., Ryan called Linda Travers, thinking Megan might have driven the car somewhere for a test. Linda was surprised. "No, I dropped it off. I'm at work. Megan was going to call me later." "Why?" Ryan didn't answer immediately. His chest tightened. Something wasn't right. He called 911 at 12:23 p.m., and within 20 minutes a patrol unit from the Houston Police Department arrived on scene. Officer Paula Singh took the initial report. Ryan explained the situation. Megan took a customer's car to park it out back and vanished. The car is missing, and so is she. Officer Singh walked the perimeter, checked the lot, and radioed for backup. "This is a commercial property. No signs of forced entry, no alarms tripped," she noted. "Surrounding businesses didn't report anything unusual." Ryan's hands trembled as he spoke with police. "She wouldn't leave like this. She didn't take her purse, her phone. Her SUV is still out front. She didn't leave." Detectives from HPD Missing Persons Division arrived later that afternoon. They questioned Ryan, Luis, and nearby Sinus owners. No one had seen Megan or the Camry leave. No security cameras on site. The garage had no surveillance system, something Ryan had been meaning to install. By 5 o'clock p.m., a formal missing person report was filed. Ryan stayed at the garage into the evening, hoping for a call, a clue, anything. But the day faded into night, and Megan Carter was gone. Her phone was off, her credit cards unused, and no cameras along Westheimer picked up the Camry leaving the block. Police issued a BOLO for the Camry's license plate, but no sightings came in. That night, alone in their home, Ryan sat in the dark, Megan's work gloves still on the kitchen counter where she'd left them the night before. He stared at the phone, waiting for it to ring. By the next morning, June 15, 2023, the Houston Police Department's Missing Persons Unit had assigned Detective Claire Moreno to lead the investigation into Megan Carter's disappearance. She arrived at Carter Auto Repair just after 8 o'clock a.m., wearing a button-down shirt, badge on her belt, and an expression that meant business. She found Ryan Carter in the office, pacing with a coffee cup in hand, eyes red from no sleep. "I don't know what to tell you," Ryan said after shaking her hand. "One minute she's here, the next, nothing. She just vanished." Moreno opened her notebook. "Let's go over it again." Ryan repeated everything. Megan had taken a customer's car, a black Toyota Camry, to park in the rear bay around 11:10 a.m. and simply never came back. No one saw her leave. The car and Megan were both gone. No one had touched her purse, which was still in the office. Her SUV was still parked out front. "You said she had her phone?" Moreno asked. "Yes, always, but it's off now." "And keys to the Camry?" "Yeah, she took them to park the car." Detective Moreno walked the lot herself, looking for any detail missed in the rush of yesterday's response. The rear parking area was tight, filled with old parts, tires, and tools. A few cars in progress were up on lifts or waiting for service. Moreno scanned to the gravel path behind the garage, which led to a chain-link fence and a service alley. Nothing looked disturbed. She turned to Officer Singh, who returned to assist. "Let's confirm. No exit cameras caught the Camry?" Singh nodded. "We pulled traffic cam footage from Westheimer and nearby streets. No sighting of the car exiting. It's like it vanished too." That detail was troubling. If Megan had left in the Camry, or had been taken in it, how had no one seen it? Detectives knocked on the doors of the neighboring businesses again, a tire shop to the left and a paint supply store to the right. No one had seen Megan, and none of them had surveillance cameras facing Carter Auto Repair. Inside the garage, Luis Ortega, the young mechanic, sat on a stool, nervously twisting a rag in his hands. Detective Moreno questioned him next. "You saw Megan last when?" "Around 11, when she went to park that lady's car. I never saw her after." "Did she seem upset? Distracted?" Luis shook his head. "No, normal. She was joking earlier about how hot it was going to get." "Anyone else come by the shop yesterday?" Luis hesitated. "A parts delivery guy, and a couple of walk-ins, but Megan handled that." "Can you describe them?" He struggled. "One guy asked about tires, middle-aged, tall, beard, left pretty quick." Moreno jotted it down. The Camry's owner, Linda Travers, returned to the shop after Detective Moreno called her in. She sat in the small office, pale and shaken. "I don't understand. Megan's missing. With my car?" "Yes, ma'am. We're trying to locate both. Do you think someone took them? Or—" Moreno gave a neutral nod. "We're exploring all possibilities." Linda provided all details about the car: VIN, license plate, and any GPS features. The vehicle didn't have active GPS tracking, but Linda noted a dash cam Megan had commented on. She mentioned the dash cam was cool and that she'd park carefully, Linda said. That detail caught Moreno's attention. By midday, Detective Moreno sent out a statewide alert for the Camry's plate and requested nearby businesses to check any cameras they had, even if not facing the garage. Meanwhile, Ryan remained at the shop, helping officers access every corner of the property. At 2:30 p.m., officers returned to research the garage interior, every lift, closet, and storage room. Nothing. They found no signs of a struggle, no blood, no personal items from Megan, except what was left in the office. Her purse, keys to her SUV, and a half-written invoice sat untouched on her desk. By 4:00 p.m., Detective Moreno requested forensic sweep of the garage, but no trace evidence was found, no hair, fibers, or fingerprints suggesting someone unknown had been inside. The working theory: Megan left in the Camry, willingly or unwillingly, but how and with whom remained the mystery. That night, Ryan went home alone, the shop now closed under police orders. He walked into their kitchen, opened the fridge, and stared at the leftover pasta Megan had packed for lunch, still there, untouched. He sat at the table, opened her planner, and ran his fingers over the ink. Her handwriting, her schedule, her life. Where the hell was she? By June 16, 2023, 2 days after Megan Carter's disappearance, word had spread across Houston's west side. News vans parked across from Carter Auto Repair, their cameras aimed at the garage where Megan was last seen. The banner on the morning news read, "Local business owner vanishes without a trace, last seen at her own garage." Detective Claire Moreno didn't care for media attention, but it was too late. The story had legs: a missing woman, a mystery car, and a husband left behind. People wanted answers. Rumors were already swirling online. Outside the garage, Ryan Carter stood stiffly behind a row of barricades police had set up to control foot traffic. He answered questions from a local reporter with clipped, tired responses. "No, we haven't found Megan or the car yet." "Yes, I'm cooperating with the police." "She wouldn't just walk away." By now, people were asking the question no one wanted to say out loud. Could Ryan himself be involved? Detective Moreno noticed the looks exchanged between reporters, the tones of suspicion. It happened in every missing person case, but still, it was early. Back inside the garage, the forensics team was finishing a second sweep, this time with ground-penetrating radar to scan under the concrete for any signs of recent disturbance. It was routine, but Moreno knew it also looked accusatory, especially to Ryan, who paced nearby, trying to stay calm. "This is a waste of time," Ryan muttered. "She's not buried in the damn floor." "We check everything," Moreno replied evenly. "You want her found? We do it right." By 11:00 a.m. results came back. No anomalies under the garage floor, nothing to suggest recent digging or any hidden space. Still, Moreno wasn't satisfied. She walked the entire property, clipboard in hand, noting everything: the storage shed, the tool cabinets, even the parts yard behind the building. She paused at a roll-up door on the north side, half jammed, not in use. Ryan said it hadn't worked in months, but Moreno noted it anyway. She turned to Luis Ortega, the mechanic who had returned reluctantly that morning to collect some tools. Moreno had more questions. "You've worked here 3 months?" she asked. "Yeah." "What's your impression of Megan and Ryan?" Luis shifted nervously. "Good people. Megan ran the place like clockwork." "Did they argue?" "Not really. Some stress, like any couple." "Anyone else ever work here?" Luis nodded. "Before me? Yeah, a guy named Bobby, left in March." "Why?" Luis hesitated. "Ryan fired him. Some argument, I don't know details." Moreno made a note to track down Bobby. Meanwhile, Ryan sat in his SUV across the street, watching his shop get pulled apart by investigators and strangers. It felt surreal. Megan's face was now on posters, online news feeds, and a growing community Facebook page dedicated to finding her. He refreshed his phone constantly, hoping for tips, updates, anything. Instead, he saw comments, some kind, others cruel. "Husband did it. Insurance scam? I heard she was going to leave him." By mid-afternoon, Detective Moreno received cell tower data for Megan's phone. Her last signal pinged at 11:14 a.m., the moment she had gone to park the Camry. The signal came from inside the garage. Then the phone went silent, powered off or destroyed. Police also reviewed credit card records. No charges, no activity. Megan hadn't used her cards, nor had her bank account been touched. Then, something odd. The garage's monthly utility usage, electricity, showed a small spike around midnight on June 15th, nearly 12 hours after Megan vanished. Moreno flagged it. "What was used?" she asked the electric company rep. "Unclear. Could have been lights or a small machine. Not a huge spike, but noticeable for that hour." That night, Moreno visited Ryan at home. "Do you go back to the shop at night?" she asked. Ryan blinked, surprised. "No, not since it happened." "Why?" "There was activity there late last night." Ryan looked disturbed. "I didn't go back. Maybe someone else did?" Moreno frowned. "No signs of break-in." She left him with that thought. The next day, she pulled street cam footage, grainy but enough. At 11:58 p.m., a car approached the garage. Headlights, brief stop, then gone. Hard to ID the vehicle, but Moreno froze the frame. It wasn't Ryan's SUV. She now had a theory. Someone came back to the shop, maybe to move something, maybe to hide something. But what? And where? By June 17, 2023, the media pressure was suffocating. Outside Carter Auto Repair, the police tape remained in place, but the news crews didn't budge. Each morning they filmed updates for the local stations, repeating the same details. Megan Carter Vannie, shed during work hours, and her car, the black Toyota Camry, was still missing. Viewers were now fixated, not just on Megan, but on Ryan Carter. Inside his house, Ryan sat on the edge of their bed, Megan's work hoodie draped across his knees. He hadn't slept much. The silence in their home was overwhelming. Their dog, Penny, whined at the back door, missing Megan's morning routine. Ryan got up, moved to the kitchen, and stared blankly at the coffee maker, Megan's domain every morning. He hadn't touched it since she disappeared. By 10 o'clock a.m., he received a call from Detective Moreno. "Can you come down to the station?" "For what?" Ryan's voice was tight. "Just to talk. You're not under arrest. We have some questions about a former employee." Ryan arrived at the HPD precinct an hour later, wearing jeans and a hoodie, shoulders slumped. Detective Moreno met him in the interview room. "We tracked down Bobby Langston," she began. Ryan sighed. "What about him?" "You fired him 3 months ago." "Yeah, for cause. He stole parts. We caught him red-handed." "Did he threaten you or Megan?" Ryan hesitated. He was angry, said we'd regret it, but that was months ago. Moreno tapped her pen. "Bobby has a record: petty theft, trespassing, and 1 restraining order from a previous employer." Ryan rubbed his forehead. "You think he's involved?" "He might be. He lives in a trailer park near Beechnut Street, not far from the garage. We're questioning him today." Moreno also asked about shop access. "Who has keys?" "Just me, Megan, and Luis. Bobby's were turned in." "You're sure?" Ryan nodded. "We changed the locks after he left." Moreno left Ryan to sit alone while she stepped out to brief her team. She wasn't ready to rule Ryan out, but Bobby Langston was now a person of interest. At 1:30 p.m., officers visited Bobby's residence, a small, run-down trailer at Barbos, the edge of a dusty lot. Bobby, 33, gaunt and jittery, opened the door shirtless, tattoos covering his arms. When asked about Megan Carter, he looked genuinely surprised. "I don't know nothing about her. Ain't seen her since March." "You were fired," Officer Singh said. "Yeah, they said I stole. Whatever, that was months ago." "Where were you June 14th between 11 a.m. and noon?" Bobby scratched his head. "Here, sleeping. Ask my girlfriend, Tina." Tina, a young woman inside, confirmed Bobby was home all morning, but her story was shaky. Officers noted a pair of car keys on the counter. "You work on cars, Bobby?" "Sometimes. Scrap. Junkers." 1 key fob was to a Toyota, model unknown. Officers took Bobby in for questioning. Meanwhile, Detective Moreno returned to Carter Auto Repair. She wanted to see the garage again, this time with fresh eyes. Accompanied by a forensic tech, she walked the back storage area, past old tires, unused equipment, and a stack of tarps. Something caught her eye, a small oil stain under a tarp near the rear wall. "Has this spot been searched?" she asked. The tech shook his head. "Wasn't flagged." Moreno carefully pulled back the dusty tarp, revealing a parking spot-sized area between stacked crates. Empty, no car. But the oil stain was fresh, and a faint tire mark led out of the spot. Moreno crouched down, brushing her hand over the dust. Something was parked here recently. She stood, her voice low. "Get luminol. Check for blood." Back at the station, Bobby Langston sat in the interview room, sweating under the lights. "You had a key to the shop," Moreno said flatly. "I gave it back." "Then how did we find your fingerprints on a shop door?" "Yesterday." Bobby's eyes widened. "I didn't. I was there once, just walked by." "Security cam saw a car at the shop after midnight. Was that you?" Bobby stayed silent. "You know where Megan Carter is?" "I don't know nothing," Bobby snapped. Moreno leaned closer. "If she's dead, and you helped hide her, now's the time to talk." Bobby stared at the table, breathing hard. "I didn't hurt her." He looked up. "But I know who might have." Moreno froze. "Who?" Bobby whispered. "Luis." Detective Claire Moreno didn't react immediately to Bobby Langston's claim. She'd heard too many suspects deflect blame, but Bobby's words echoed in her mind as she left the interview room. I didn't hurt her, but I know who might have. Luis. Back at Carter Auto Repair, the forensics team continued rechecking areas that had been previously cleared. A specialist named Jenna Marks was photographing the storage zone behind Bay 3 when she noticed something strange in the far corner, a stack of old bumpers and crates piled to the ceiling. Behind them was a tarp, partially sagging. Jenna called it in. Moreno arrived minutes later. "What is it?" "Looks like a car," Jenna said. They cleared the area, shifting boxes carefully. The tarp slid off, revealing the black Toyota Camry, the missing car Megan had gone to park the day she vanished. It was parked neatly, hidden behind equipment, with dust and debris covering it. The car was locked, its exterior undamaged. Moreno's pulse spiked. "Get it opened," she ordered. Using gloves, the forensics team opened the door. The interior was dark and musty. On the driver's seat sat Megan's work gloves, folded neatly. On the passenger seat, her cell phone. Screen shattered. No Megan. Moreno crouched beside the car, heart racing. The car hadn't left the garage. It had been here the entire time, cleverly concealed. She examined the gear shift. In park. The odometer had barely changed. No recent mileage. This confirmed it. Megan had moved the car just a short distance inside the garage and vanished before leaving. Forensics dusted for prints. Megan's fingerprints were on the steering wheel and gear shift. A smudged partial print, not yet identified, was on the inside of the driver's door. Moreno turned to Jenna. "No signs of blood?" "None visible. We'll process it." Moreno stared at the car. "Someone parked this here after we searched the shop." She was right. This area had been checked, lightly, in the first 48 hours, but no one had moved the pile of crates concealing the car. Someone came back to hide it. Ryan Carter arrived on scene moments later, summoned by police. He froze when he saw the car. "What the hell?" "That's Linda's car," he said, voice shaking. Moreno stepped in. "It was here, hidden behind these crates." Ryan's face went pale. "No, that's impossible." "Have you been back here recently?" "No, I didn't even know this area was blocked off." Moreno stared at him. "Megan's phone and gloves are inside." Ryan's eyes welled up. "Is there—" He couldn't finish the question. "No body, no blood, just the car." Ryan stepped back, clutching the wall. Officers sealed off the garage again. The Camry was towed for processing, and Megan's phone was sent to digital forensics. Though damaged, data recovery might reveal calls, texts, or video from the day she vanished. Meanwhile, Moreno returned to Luis Ortega, who had been absent all day. Ryan said Luis had called in sick. Moreno called Luis. No answer. She drove to his apartment on Bel Air Boulevard, knocked twice, and waited. Luis answered, startled. "I'm sick," he mumbled. "I need to talk to you," Moreno said. Luis opened the door reluctantly. Inside, the apartment was messy. Grease-stained work clothes on the floor, fast food wrappers, and a toolbox sat in the corner. Moreno got to the point. "We found the missing Camry inside the shop." Luis blinked. "What? You didn't know?" "No, I swear." "You've been working there daily." Luis shifted. "I didn't go near the back storage. That's Ryan's area." Moreno watched him carefully. "You didn't help anyone move the car?" "No. Why would I?" "You worked with Bobby. He says you knew something." Luis tensed. "That guy's lying. He got fired for stealing." Moreno leaned in. "Did Megan have my problems with Bobby before he left?" Luis hesitated. "He was weird with her. Too friendly. Megan didn't like it." "Did Ryan know?" "Yeah, that's why he fired him." Moreno studied Luis. His story felt rehearsed, but she had no solid evidence to contradict it. Back at the station, Megan's phone data was partially recovered. Her last outgoing text, sent at 11:12 a.m. on June 14th, read, "Parking the car now. Be in soon." To Ryan. A photo taken seconds before, a quick snap from the driver's seat showing the rear garage wall and a reflection in the mirror, a figure standing behind the car, blurry, unidentifiable. Moreno zoomed in. Someone had been with her in the garage just before she vanished. Detective Claire Moreno stared at the photo recovered from Megan Carter's damaged phone. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, a quick image of the garage interior, taken from the driver's seat of the Camry as Megan went to park the car. The timestamp was June 14th, 11:12 a.m., exactly when she vanished. But what caught Moreno's eye was the rear-view mirror. A blurry human figure was reflected there, standing just outside the driver's side door. Moreno had the image enhanced. The figure was male, wearing a dark shirt, posture rigid, no clear face, just enough detail to know that Megan wasn't alone when she parked the car. At that moment, whoever stood there was likely the last person to see her alive. Moreno printed a still and pinned it to the evidence board. She called in Ryan Carter and Luis Ortega separately for questioning, starting with Ryan. He stared at the image in stunned silence. "That's inside the garage?" "Yes." Right before she disappeared, Ryan's voice cracked. She sent this?" "Possibly took it by accident. No text sent with the photo. We only recovered the image." Ryan leaned closer. "I don't recognize the figure." "You were wearing a light shirt that day," Moreno said. "Luis wore dark." Ryan didn't speak. Moreno nodded toward the door. "You can go for now. Stay available." When Luis Ortega arrived, Moreno placed the photo in front of him. His eyes widened. "Is this Megan's?" "Yes." He stared at the figure in the mirror. "Is that me?" he whispered. "You tell me." Luis shook his head. "I didn't see her in the car. I wasn't near her." Moreno raised an eyebrow. "The photo says otherwise." Luis stammered. "Maybe I walked by. I don't remember. I swear I didn't do anything." Moreno's phone buzzed. A forensic report had just come in. She excused herself, stepped into the hallway, and opened the file. Partial fingerprint on the Camry's door handle matched to Luis Ortega. She returned. "You said you weren't near the car." Luis went pale. "Okay." "I touched the door. I was going to move it later. I didn't think it mattered." Moreno didn't respond. "You think I hurt her?" Luis asked, voice cracking. "I didn't. I wouldn't." Back at Carter Auto Repair, police reviewed the garage's electric usage logs again. The spike on June 15th at 12:04 a.m. Still unexplained. Moreno cross-referenced it with street camera footage. A sedan had pulled into the alley behind the shop just before midnight, headlights briefly illuminating the fence. Moreno enhanced the plate, partially visible, but the digits matched Bobby Langston's car. She called Bobby back in. "You lied. You were at the garage after hours." Bobby panicked. "Okay, I went there, but just to look. I didn't go inside." "You had keys." "No, I swear. I just parked in the alley. I thought maybe I'd find something. Maybe I could help." Moreno didn't buy it. Bobby sat forward. "But I saw someone inside, through the window." "Who?" "I think it was Luis. He was moving boxes. Around midnight." Now Moreno's focus shifted again. Why was Luis at the garage at midnight? She returned to Ryan Carter's house. Ryan was sitting in the garage at home, Megan's toolbox beside him. Moreno confronted him. "Luis was at your shop after hours. He didn't tell us." Ryan's face tightened. "What was he doing?" "We think he was hiding the car." Ryan's hands clenched. "I trusted that kid." Moreno stood. "Stay reachable. This case is moving fast." The next morning, Moreno got a call from forensics. They found trace blood in the Camry, on the seatbelt buckle. DNA testing was underway. But the blood was real. Megan had bled inside that car, and Luis had lied. A warrant was issued for Luis Ortega's arrest. He was gone. By June 21, 2023, Luis Ortega had disappeared. After a warrant was issued for his arrest in connection with Megan Carter's disappearance, Houston police arrived at his apartment, but Luis was already gone. His phone was off, his car missing. Neighbors said he'd been acting nervous, carrying a backpack, leaving quickly the night before. Detective Claire Moreno stood in the empty apartment, staring at the disarray. Drawers pulled open, clothes missing. In the corner of the room, a stack of job applications sat untouched. The top one was for Carter Auto Repair, dated just 3 months earlier. Moreno stepped outside and called Ryan Carter. "We believe Luis was involved in hiding Megan's car. He's now a fugitive." There was silence on the line. "Do you think he—" Ryan couldn't finish. "I think he knows what happened to her," Moreno said quietly. "And he's running." A statewide alert was issued. Luis's 2006 silver Honda Civic was flagged. His photo circulated to border checkpoints and public bulletins. Moreno retraced Luis's last known movements. Surveillance footage showed his car leaving Houston around 1:15 a.m., heading west on I-10. At a gas station outside Sealy, Texas, Luis had stopped to buy fuel. The timestamp was 1:58 a.m., just hours before the warrant. The clerk remembered him, said Luis looked anxious, like he hadn't slept. He asked, "If I knew the way to San Antonio," the clerk recalled. Police believed Luis was heading there, possibly to cross the border. Moreno alerted state troopers and Border Patrol. Back at the lab, DNA results came in. The blood found inside the Camry, on the seatbelt buckle, was confirmed to be Megan Carter's. This was now a criminal case, no longer just missing persons. Detective Moreno held a press conference. "We have evidence of foul play," she said. "We are searching for Luis Ortega as a person of interest in the disappearance of Megan Carter. We urge anyone with information to come forward." Ryan Carter stood behind the cameras, watching as his wife's case became public again, but now with the darkest tone yet. In San Antonio on June 23rd, a state trooper spotted a silver Honda Civic parked behind an abandoned service station. The plates matched Luis's. The car was empty. Doors unlocked, keys gone. Nearby, a wooded area stretched toward the Medina River. A search began. Hours later, officers found Luis Ortega, soaked, hiding under a bridge, clothes muddy, small cuts on his arms. He surrendered without resistance. Back in Houston, Detective Moreno sat across from him in the interrogation room. Luis looked hollow. "You ran," she said. "I didn't know what to do." "You hid Megan's car." Luis swallowed. "Yes." "Did you kill her?" "No." "Then where is she?" Luis looked down. His hands trembled. "It was an accident," he whispered. Moreno leaned in. "Tell me everything." Luis exhaled shakily. "She was parking the Camry. I was in the shop, getting parts. I walked over to ask her something. She startled. I didn't mean to scare her." "What happened?" "She opened the door. I tried to help her out. She slipped, fell back, hit her head." Moreno stared at him. "There was blood," Luis said. "She didn't move. I panicked. Then what? I thought I'd be blamed. I dragged her. Behind the crates. I cleaned the seat, hid the car." "You moved her body?" Luis nodded, tears forming. "Where is she?" Luis's voice cracked. "Behind the show? In the parts yard, under the scrap pile." Moreno stood. The room felt cold. At Carter Auto Repair, police searched the rear parts yard again. Beneath a stack of metal scraps, under a tarp, they found a shallow depression in the dirt. There, wrapped in an oil-stained sheet, was Megan Carter's body. 8 days after she vanished, she had been found, yards from where she was last seen. Ryan was called to the scene. He stood behind the barricade, silent, eyes locked on the ground where his wife had been hidden. "She never left the shop," he whispered. Detective Moreno stood beside him. "She was here the whole time." Ryan nodded, tears falling. "She was just trying to park a car." On June 24, 2023, the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office officially confirmed what everyone feared. The remains found beneath the scrap pile behind Carter Auto Repair belonged to Megan Carter. Her death was caused by blunt force trauma to the back of the head, likely from hitting the concrete floor. The forensic report indicated that the injury was consistent with an accidental fall, but it was what happened after she died that turned the tragedy into a crime. Luis Ortega's confession, his lies to police, the concealment of her body, and the deliberate hiding of the car made it clear. Megan's death might have been accidental, but his actions were not. In the hours following the discovery, Detective Claire Moreno prepared the final case report. It detailed every lead, every mistake, every delay. Luis's deception had cost Megan a chance to be found alive, had caused her family 3 weeks of hell, and had brought unnecessary suspicion onto her husband, Ryan Carter, a man who had lost everything in a single moment. The police held a press conference the next morning. Moreno stepped to the podium. "Today we can confirm that Megan Carter has been found. This is no longer a missing person case. It is a case of criminal concealment and obstruction, and justice will be pursued. We extend our deepest condolences to Megan's family." Reporters asked about motive. Moreno answered honestly. Panic, fear, but none of that excuses what Luis Ortega did. Ryan Carter stood outside the police station, holding a printed photo of Megan from the early days of their business. She was smiling, sleeves rolled up, standing next to their first shop van. "She didn't deserve this," Ryan said, voice steady. "She was kind, fair, strong. I don't know what I'll do without her, but I'll make sure she's not forgotten." He refused further questions, retreating into the crowd, head down, Megan's photo pressed to his chest. The funeral service was scheduled for July 1st, held at Westwood Memorial Chapel. The chapel filled beyond capacity. Mechanics, neighbors, friends, old classmates, even strangers who had followed the case attended to say goodbye. The front of the chapel displayed Megan's work boots, her KR wrench set, and a framed photo of her graduation from the Houston Trade School, where she had been one of the few female mechanics in her class. Eli Watkins, a longtime customer, spoke during the service. "Megan once stayed late just to fix my daughter's car before her job interview. That's who she was. She didn't care about praise, she just cared about helping people." Luis Ortega was arraigned in Harris County Court on July 5th. He was charged with involuntary manslaughter, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, and obstruction of justice. He appeared in court, shackled, head down, offering no statement. His public defender requested a plea deal, citing Luis's claim that Megan's death was accidental. The district attorney, however, rejected it. This was not just an accident. This was a deliberate cover-up. He lied, hid evidence, and left a family to suffer. The case went to trial in September 2023. During testimony, forensic experts confirmed that had Luis called 911, Megan might have survived. The bleed pattern suggested she was unconscious but possibly alive for several minutes. Ryan Carter testified on the third day. "He didn't just kill her," Ryan said, staring at Luis. "He let her die. Then he buried her like trash." The jury deliberated for 2 days. On September 28, 2023, Luis Ortega was convicted on all charges. The judge sentenced him to 20 years in prison, with no parole for the first 15 years. Ryan didn't attend the sentencing. He said he was done giving Luis any more of my life. In October, Ryan returned to Carter Auto Repair, unsure if he would keep the business open. The shop was quiet, tools untouched, the bays filled with dust. In Bay 3, the exact spot where Megan vanished, Ryan had laid new flooring, steel tile, and placed a small engraved plaque into the ground. Megan Carter, June 14, 2023. Your work, your strength, your love. Customers urged him to reopen. He did, but only on one condition. The shop would now be employee-owned, with profits funding a scholarship fund for women entering mechanical trades. He called it the Megan Carter Foundation. On June 14, 2024, the one-year memorial was held at the shop. Over 150 people gathered. Candles lit the garage, photos of Megan displayed on the walls, from her first days as a mechanic to her last known photo the morning she disappeared. Ryan addressed the crowd. She was the heart of this place. Her hands built it. Her kindness kept it running. Today we remember her, not just in loss, but in purpose. That day, the first Megan Carter Memorial Scholarship was awarded to a 19-year-old girl named Tasha Green, beginning her training at Houston Trade School. The garage stayed open. The work continued, and Megan's name, once a headline, became a symbol of resilience, justice, and strength in the city of Houston.